Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, Episode 13, Into the Breach. The title may come from Shakespeare's Henry V, Act 3, Scene 1, the famous passage, "Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more, or close up the wall with our English dead." A line that you will know if you've seen Good Will Hunting or any of the episodes of The Traitors, because Alan Cumming quotes it like every other episode, while Kate from Below Deck is just staring at him like, what? I don't get it, but I'm a lot. But this line from Henry V is one of the all-time best quotes about war and the willingness to achieve victory at any cost while you're at the side of your brothers. And I kind of feel like this episode right here is gonna be the last time any of these Batchers gets this close to Coruscant. I just have a bad feeling about this. So let's dive into this episode to break down all the hidden Easter eggs and Star Wars details that you might have missed. This episode opens with some intense Kevin Kiner synth tones. Every time they show us Tantiss, it looks so cool. And after the rainstorm last episode, now this tropical setting is lush and green once more, with flapping birds and a gushing waterfall at the base of the mountain. In fact, I kind of wonder if Omega's gonna use this waterfall in her escape, fugitive style. We see a small mouse droid scurrying down the hall of the shields on either side, and we'll actually see later in the episode, this is where the droids of the Tantiss base come from. Omega wakes up and instantly takes stock of her situation, noticing the windows full of scientists and observers, as well as the mechanism that opens the doors. She's testing her surroundings for weak points. She's learning. Omega meets the other kids, Eva the Iktachi, Jax the Mary Allen, Sammy the Pantoran, and the new toddler who was abducted in the Identity Crisis episode, Bayern, who is the Tarlifar race, the same species of Waymoth from Solo: A Star Wars Story, played by Warwick Davis, because all of his Star Wars characters have names that begin with W. Eva cuddles the doll Emery gave her during the Identity Crisis episode, the doll that Omega had made, and Omega recognizes that Eva needs it more than she does, because she's not a little girl anymore. But she also realizes from this conversation that Dr. Carr might be a bit of a softie. Eva says that the scientists want them to play these holographic games. I'm reminded somewhat of the guessing game that Mace Windu played with Anakin in The Phantom Menace, but if it's not just busy work to keep the kids occupied, I kind of like the idea that, similar to the Death Star pieces that the Narkina 5 prisoners are tasked with assembling in Andor, there might be a more sinister Imperial forward purpose to these games. Echo returns, meeting up with them in a stolen shuttle, and he sees Rampart, and he's like, him! But he asks if they can trust that Hydro Snake. I don't know what a Hydro Snake is. Maybe it's some reptilian creature that they all knew and hated on Kamino. You know, the home that Rampart took from them. Rampart explains that any Tantiss-bound ship must first go to Imperial Station 003, orbiting Coruscant, where the coordinates to Tantiss are put directly into the navigation computer. This is the station where Dr. Carr met up with Cad Bane in the Identity Crisis episode, so the clones plan to disguise Rampart as an Imperial captain, with the clones as a security detail.
I was a vice admiral.
Well, you've been demoted.
I hate clones.
As Dr. Carr takes Omega's sample, the medical droid assisting Emery opens his cavity in Omega's cell wall where the blood testing receptacle has been hidden. This is a nifty clue that the walls surrounding their cells are not solid. You can see Omega registering this mentally. But also she spots one of the tools on the tray and she snatches it. I really want to see Emery Carr get back to her station and realize that one of the tools was taken, like Walter White reassembling the broken plate in Breaking Bad and realizing a shiv-sized piece was missing. And then Emery Carr would be like, no. And then she would have to like kill Omega. No, but the fact that we don't see any reaction from Emery Carr here might tell us that Emery could have wanted Omega to take something. So on the observation deck, Dr. Scalder questions if it's wise letting Omega mingle with the other children. We've seen Dr. Scalder before, back in the Kamino Lost episode, and she was first introduced by name in the Metamorphosis episode, but back in last season's Plan 99 finale episode, she gave Emery some major stink eye, and ever since then, I felt like she's definitely the kind of ambitious that would go behind Emery's back. I feel like that's what she's headed for here. Omega uses the colored game pieces to create the layout of the room with the 6 tubes connected to transport their blood samples. This tower game at her side is kind of like a circular Jenga, and from above, it definitely looks like the rotating gears of a scompling. Last episode, we got a hint that there could be 9 total specimens in this facility, meaning that there may be other children at a different location than these 6 cells. Omega tells them that she's escaped this place before, and all of them are like, whoa, way to bury the lead, except the little Bayern, who's just too engrossed with her doll and just continues to pet it. Omega says that she had training in order to escape, and we just see how spending time with the Bad Batch made her impossible to contain. Echo strips the paint from the clones' armor so they can go undercover. We get this awesome shot from the helmet's perspective looking up at the paint stripper. Their armor has always been, above all else, functional, and I think it's a critical step in the group's evolution to let go of the cool, we're in the Republic Army markings that they had decked up. Ever since we first saw them, that paint has just been scuffed and chipped away from their conflicts. works. And now finally they're just like, you know what? Let's strip it all off. Let's remove these tats. Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of the trailer for Spider Chum, which will finally answer the question of what exactly happened to all the people who just kind of like spiders, but don't have any superpowers beyond not being grossed out by how many eyes they have. Seriously, spiders have 8 eyes. Isn't that wild? Most of those eyes aren't even helping with depth perception. So what are they seeing? Ultraviolet radiation? The polarization of light? Some kind of special arachnid aura that humans can't even imagine? Marshmallow? Honey? Peppermint? Oh man, this is so much better. Wait, what the hell is Spider Chum? No matter what you're talking about, if you're talking a lot, One Shot Energy's voice drops can be the relief your throat needs. Go to oneshotenergy.com/newrockstars to get 10% off your order. Rampart says,
I didn't just make it to Vice Admiral on looks alone.
yeah, he's calling himself handsome. He's such a naughty little snob. Later, he tells them that they're gonna stand out like overheated Gamorreans. Gamorreans, of course, the hog-based race that guard the daimyos of Tatooine, including the ones who work for Jabba the Hutt. Rampart adjusts his uniform, and after Hunter puts his hand on the shoulder, Rampart dusts it off because he's an Imperial Vice Admiral. He knows that they wouldn't have paint dust on their uniform. Rampart pulls rank on this lieutenant and afterwards continues fiddling with his captain badge like he can't stop touching it. Like he's worried it's gonna fall off, or he's just grossed out by having to wear a captain badge that is beneath him. Rampart tells the stormtroopers to go back to the barracks, and inside the control room, he keeps trying to do it, demanding the manifest, but the Imperial gunner's like, nah, not me. And he demands Rampart's access card, which gets him the one-way ticket to Stunville. But Hunter catches him before he falls, because you know that big, stupid helmet's gonna make the loudest clang when it hits the floor, and they haven't closed the door yet. So they're just really smart about how they're handling this, and I love this gesture that Rampart makes afterwards, what the f are we gonna do now? Well, I'll tell you what they're gonna do, Rampart. They're gonna plug the half machine, one of them, into this machine to figure out where a science vessel is located. They find one, and on the screen, the Orbesh says science vessel, and then on the right, you see ship inventory, and then they do this thing that drives me crazy, where the scrolling text beneath is just strings of random letters and numbers, and I assume the number refers to how many of them are there, and I'm just gonna choose to believe that these are not just random characters that were barfed in there by Lucasfilm animators who are lucky to get episode orders this big for a show that hardly moves the ball forward episode by episode. But let's think of it this way. You know, on Barton 4, where the medical screen just didn't show that much, I wonder if those are actually specific scientific code that refers to what type of equipment medical supplies, and I, the viewer, am just too stupid to know what the scientific and medical code refers to. And you'll notice on the black screen that follows, the Orbesh reads location stats 010100, and then DFAHHDHFUWO followed by more random letters. But you know what? They're not random. They're very, very important. I know it. So they learn that the coordinates are only transferred after a vessel leaves a station. That sucks. So they plan to do something more fun. They want to hitch a ride with the science vessel as Echo plans to sneak aboard to lower the proximity sensors. Meanwhile, back on Tantiss, there's this amazing overhead shot and a match cut from the concentric circles of the exterior of the base seen from above to the exact same overhead angle on the circular vault. And once we're in the vault floor really does parallel the circular Jenga tower of the game that Omega plays. It's almost as if to say, if Omega can just figure out this Jenga Scomp Link game with the toys on the table, they can also just undo this bigger puzzle that they're trapped within, and thus undo the broader circular puzzle of the base's jungle exterior. All concentric circles are kind of connected as part of the same jigsaw, like a Scomp Link. Then back in the cargo bay of the space station, we see these droids loading these crates, and I gotta ask, what purpose does this science vessel really have in this journey to Tantiss? Is it part of the other genetic research Hemlock is doing with the animals that he mentioned, which I theorize could be an operation in which they're trying to clone a Mandalorian mythosaur, Jurassic Park style? We'll find out. Echo is told off by the sassy astromech, and then he watches these droids get sucked up into the science vessel. Echo takes the same route, which makes sense because he is mostly machine. Tubes like this appeared in the original Star Wars film. Remember when the Jawas used them to suck a stolen R2-D2 up into their sand crawler? We also saw these kind of chutes in the Phantom Menace on the Naboo Royal Starship when R2-D2 and the other astromechs were sucked up to the roof to do the repairs as they were trying to break through the Trade Federation blockade. On board the science vessel, the Imperials notice unauthorized droid activity on the cargo hold, and their screen says, "Alert! Unauthorized unauthorized access. Then the screen on the clone shuttle says shield status, showing them it's not yet safe to dock. Hunter refuses to abort, and he moves their shuttle into position anyway. I believe this is a breach that the clones charge fearlessly into, mentioned in the episode title. A breach, of course, is a gap in a wall, a barrier, or defense of an attacking army, and they found the one hole in the armor, and it may just be Hemlock's need for his weird little science side projects that the Emperor made very clear should be extracurricular. But Echo comes through, and Hunter latches on at the last second, and the science vessel leaps into hyperspace with them in tow. We end the episode there as we can emit an exhale. Hey, comment down below with your thoughts on this episode. Follow me at Erik Voss and subscribe to all 3 channels in the new Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.